The Merchant of Venice, Act 4, Scene 1, Video number 3. Portia is trying to convince Shylock to be a little merciful, but Shylock is insisting on having the pound of flesh from nearest Antonio's bosom. Nobody can change this decision of Shylock. Shylock actually wants to take revenge on Antonio the Christian. Let's read from line number 255. Portia, have by some surgeon Shylock on your charge to stop his wounds lest he do bleed to death. To stop whose wounds? Antonio's wounds. So after cutting the pound of flesh, it is natural that Antonio will start bleeding, and therefore Portia wants Shylock to have some surgeon by in order to stop his wounds lest he do bleed to death. Shylock, is it so nominated in the bond? Is it mentioned in the bond that I'll have to arrange a surgeon? Portia, it is not so expressed, it is not written in the bond, but what of that? It were good, you do so much for charity. Shylock, I cannot find it, it is not mentioned in the bond. You merchant, have you anything to say? Here merchant is Antonio. Portia requests Antonio to say something. Antonio, but little. Antonio does not have much to say. I am armed and well prepared. I am armed and well prepared. I am spiritually well prepared. Give me your hand. Bassanio, fare you well. Antonio has reconciled himself to his lot and he has accepted his fate. He is going to endure this with patience. He is spiritually armed in order to do so, and here Antonio is bidding farewell to his dearest friend Bassanio. Grieve not that I am fallen to this for you. He tells Bassanio, he tries to assure Bassanio that Bassanio is not responsible for his ruin, for Antonio's death. For herein fortune shows herself more kind than is her custom, than usually is the custom of fortune, destiny. It is still her use to let the wretched man outlive his wealth. We all know that Antonio is a bankrupt now, so it will be good for him to die this death. To view with hollow eye and wrinkled brow an age of poverty. So death is preferable to Antonio than a life of poverty, to lead a poverty-stricken life. He is not willing to lead a poverty-stricken life in his old age, from which lingering penance of such misery doth she cut me off. Who is she? Fortune here. Fortune, destiny is personified. Destiny is saving Antonio from the dishonor of leading a poverty-stricken life, of leading a miserable life. Commend me to your honorable wife, that is Portia. Tell Portia about me. Tell her the process of Antonio's end, how Antonio died. Say how I loved you. Speak me fair in death. Speak highly of me. And when the tale is told, bid her be judge whether Bassanio had not once a love, whether I am your dearest friend or not. We share a bond of true friendship. So tell Portia about our friendship. Tell Portia about me. This is Antonio's last request to Bassanio. Repent, but you that you shall lose your friend. Do not feel guilty. I am not going to die because of you. But you must repent. You must only regret the fact that after my death, you will lose your closest friend. And he repents not that he pays your debt. For if the Jew do cut but deep enough, I will pay it instantly with all my heart. Bassanio must not feel guilty, and Antonio will have no cause to repent of paying Bassanio's death to the Jew and sacrificing his life in the process. One thing is clear, that if the Jew makes a cut deep enough into Antonio's flesh, he is going to die. But he will die instantaneously, and he will do so with all his heart, that is, willingly. Bassanio: Antonio, I am married to a wife, which is as dear to me as life itself. Bassanio loves Portia very much, as dear, as precious to him as life itself, but life itself, my wife, and all the world are not with me esteemed above thy life. Bassanio loves Antonio also very much. He is married to a wife who is dear to him as his very life is, but Bassanio's life itself, his wife, and the whole of this world are not valued by Bassanio more than he values Antonio's life, and he would readily give up all these things, that is, his own life, Portia, and all the world. He will sacrifice all these things and pass them on to the devil Jew Shylock in order to save Antonio from the clutches of the cunning, merciless Shylock. Portia, your wife would give you little thanks for that if she were by to hear you make the offer. Portia, that is Portia disguised as the young lawyer Balthazar, tells Bassanio that his wife would hardly give him any thanks if she were somewhere nearby to hear him making this offer. And Portia would certainly not appreciate Bassanio's readiness to sacrifice her to save Antonio. Gratiano says, I have a wife who I protest I love. He also loves Nerissa very much. But I would she were in heaven, so she could entreat some power to change this currish Jew. But Gratiano too would not mind if Nerissa were to die and go to heaven, so that she can appeal to some divine power there to bring about a change in the attitude of the cunning, degraded Jew Shylock, dog-like, currish Nerissa. It is well you offer it behind her back. The wish would make else an unquiet house. It is good that Gratiano is making this offer in Nerissa's absence, because if Nerissa were to come to know of it, she would feel very annoyed with Gratiano, and his domestic life would then lose its peace and happiness. Here, Bassanio and Gratiano are unable to recognize Portia and Nerissa, and Portia and Nerissa take advantage of this situation. They also do not reveal their true identities to their husbands. Shylock: these be the Christian husbands. I have a daughter, that is Jessica. Would any of the stock breed of Barabbas had been her husband rather than a Christian. Who is Barabbas? The thief who was released when Christ was crucified. Here, Shylock is speaking to himself privately, and he is feeling very impatient. He says that these are Christian husbands who hardly have any true affection for their wives. Jessica, he has a daughter Jessica, and he wishes that some descendant of Barabbas, the Jew, had been her husband rather than a Christian. Even though Barabbas was a thief, he would have preferred a Jewish husband for his daughter, even if he were a Jew, to a Christian husband who would never have loved her faithfully. Then, speaking to the court, he says, we trifle time, we waste time. I pray thee, pursue sentence, let us go, and let me just have my pound of flesh. Portia: a pound of that same merchant's flesh is thine. The court awards it. You are legally entitled. to have the pound of flesh, and the law doth give it. Shylock, very happy, very pleased, most rightful judge. Portia, and you must cut this flesh from off his breast. The law allows it, and the court awards it. She is emphasizing on the fact that the law doth give it, the law allows it, and the court awards it. Shylock, very, very pleased. Most learned judge, a sentence, come, prepare. Portia, tarry a little, wait a little, there is something else. What is this? This bond doth give thee here no jot of blood. Here comes the twist. According to the exact words written in the agreement, you will not have a jot of blood, a drop of blood. The words expressly are, a pound of flesh, you are legally entitled to cut only a pound of flesh without shedding a drop of blood. Well, everyone, just think if this is possible or not. Take then thy bond, take thou thy pound of flesh, but in the cutting it, if thou dost shed one drop of Christian blood, thy lands and goods are by the laws of Venice confiscate unto the state of Venice. Very important. Now Gratiano appreciates Portia, O upright judge, mark you, O learned judge, just as Shylock was appreciating Portia's experience and good judgment a little while ago. Shylock, taken aback, is that the law? Thyself shall see the act, for as thou urgest justice, be assured thou shalt have justice more than thou desirest. Urgest, demand. Gratiano, O learned judge, mark you, a learned judge. I take this offer then, pay the bond thrice, and let the Christian go. Shylock realizes that he is in deep trouble and he wants the bond thrice so that he can let the Christian go. Bassanio also willingly agrees to offer the money, that is, the bond thrice the loan amount. Portia, soft, wait, the Jew shall have all justice, soft, no haste, he shall have nothing but the penalty. Portia now insists that Shylock will have nothing except the penalty. And even the penalty has to be taken by Shylock at his own risk. Even the pound of flesh has to be cut off by Shylock in accordance with the condition already pronounced by Portia. Gratiano, O Jew, an upright Jew, a learned judge, therefore prepare thee to cut off the flesh, shed thou no blood, nor cut thou less nor more, but just a pound of flesh, exactly a pound of flesh, not more nor less. If thou takest more or less, what will happen? If thou takest more or less than a just pound, be it but so much as makes it light or heavy in the substance, that is, in weight, or the division of the 20th part of one poor scruple, a weight unit used by the old apothecaries of 20 grains, nay, if the scale do turn, but in the estimation weight of a hair, thou diest. Finished, thou diest, and all thy goods are confiscate. So this is the condition put forward by Portia, disguised as the lawyer. And Gratiano is overwhelmed with joy. A second Daniel, a Daniel Jew, now infidel. I have you on the hip, that is, I have you at my mercy. Portia, why doth the Jew pause? What are you waiting for? Take thy forfeiture. Shylock, give me my principal. Not even thrice the bond now. It's time for Shylock to take just the 3,000 ducats, the principal loan amount, and let me go. Bassanio, I have it ready for thee. Here it is. Bassanio, unable to understand what is happening around him, he just wants to save Antonio at any cost. And when he sees that Shylock only wants a 3,000 ducats, he again offers it. Again, Portia tells Bassanio, he hath refused it in the open court. He shall have merely justice, nothing else. Only justice and his bond. Gratiano, Daniel still say, second Daniel, I thank thee, Jew, for reaching me that word, for teaching me that expression. That is, Daniel came to judgment. Shylock, shall I not have barely my principal? Portia, thou shalt have nothing but the forfeiture, to be so taken at thy peril, at your own risk, Jew. Shylock, why then the devil give him good of it? I will stay no longer question, so I will not argue any more. I am going to leave this place right now. Portia, tarry, Jew. Wait, Jew, wait. Don't be in a hurry. The law hath yet another hold on you, another twist. Let's see what it is.